afternoon, everyone. Beautiful day outside here in the state of Michigan, and yesterday was a great day for Michigan basketball. A banner day. You don't have too many of those. You'd like to have them every year, but a banner day for the maize and blue, and what a great game! What a great post-game celebration. You know, Michigan had the celebration all planned, whether they were going to win or lose. It's a little bit, I don't know if, they have the saying that, you rain on someone's parade. Parades aren't much fun to go to if it's raining, but this is like if you plan a wedding out on the water. It's all of a sudden this is very windy and rainy. You probably still go through it, but it's not all that much fun. That's what could have happened to Michigan if they would have come up short against Michigan State, but it didn't. So everything that was planned, from the confetti falling from the Chrysler Center roof to the banner going up to the senior celebration to the cutting of the nets, it ended up being all the pomp and circumstance for those that stayed around or were able to watch a little bit on TV. Was just something to really relish, to really savor. And the great part is that, they're just getting going. It was a real punctuation mark on a great season, one of the great regular seasons ever. And you do need to, in basketball, it's not unfortunate, it's how the way it goes. You do, if Michigan could go out there and they could, for the first time ever, win the regular season title and then the Big Ten tournament title, that would be the first time in program history. That would make it great. Yaks afterwards said, yeah, we want to make this the greatest Michigan basketball season ever. Well, they're on that trajectory. If they win in Chicago, if they, obviously the big piece, win on April the 6th in Indianapolis, then they will have completed all of that. Along the way, you'll look back and say, yeah, you have one to compare it to, and the one that stands out, the 89 championship, Glenn Rice and everything. And you would say, if it's the big if, Michigan's able to take it home, say, yeah, this is the greatest single season in Michigan basketball history. That's no small thing. So what a day. The energy at the Chrysler Center was tremendous. I made a list of things I'm going to talk about. We have the Big Ten tournament coming up this weekend. And then beyond that, this Sunday is Selection Sunday. And we'll get to that and what Michigan looks like and where they're heading and how things are shaping up for them. But we are starting with the game yesterday. It was a great atmosphere. There have been plenty of times down through the years that when it was the Chrysler Arena, you'd go in Michigan to play Michigan State, and it would be a raucous. Sometimes there'd be way too many Michigan State fans in there that Michigan fans had to get up and match their energy. They didn't have to do that. They had their own energy, and they brought it because this is a fabulous team. And who doesn't in sports love a winner, a fabulous team? That's what it's about. I know I've had dealt with some Spartan fans. Oh, Michigan basketball fans. This is the only year now they're all Michigan basketball fans. And, to me, I don't really care about that kind of zinger from Michigan State. There might even be a point to it, but I look at Detroit sports. I look at sports in the Midwest, really sports in general. There might be some teams like the Cubs back in the day. They're sad sack losers. People still went to the games. They didn't care because they just loved going down. They loved baseball. Actually, they probably just loved going to get wasted during the day at Wrigley Field. But in general, and I like it like this, that you don't just show up because, you get and I think back in the day, you used to have a little bit of this, like you get a badge of honor. And maybe you graduated from Michigan and say, oh, I'm with them through thick and thin. And so you go, even when they're in last place and you're cheering and everything else. And then you get displaced maybe when they have a a very exciting team, and everybody, the ticket prices go way up, and everybody's interested. People are interested when you have a really good team. And I got news for Michigan State fans. So we're going to get to them and their head coach and their dirty point guard coming up. But when Izzo retires, maybe this year, and he probably should, get more on that, probably should put him out to pasture. This would be a great way to send him out. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't, but he should go. But when they fall on lean times over the next couple of years, I got news for you. The Jack Breslin Center is going to be a mausoleum too. And all those state fans that talk about, just with, great basketball fans. I'll wait for that day. I don't yet have a tweet in my drafts, saying, oh, you guys all were really hard on Michigan. It's a rivalry thing. It's just something that you say at the time. Even though that one day the shoe will be on their foot, people don't care about that. You stay with what's going right now, especially if you're trying to trash the other team. But back to my original point is that it's always been really great energy in the building when it's Michigan State in town. Even during the dog days, man, people were just, it was different. It was different in there, and I love the intensity and the refs, the much maligned officials in the Big Ten, in college basketball overall. They had a tough job because these teams are coming out swinging, almost literally kicking, and every play is scrutinized and everything else. And so they're going to call it a little bit. If they're letting them play or calling a little bit tighter because it's a rivalry game, it was the latter, and you can understand that because you don't want things to get out of hand, especially when you got a loose cannon like Fears and Tom Izzo as a head coach over on the sideline who can erupt at any point. So you had to do things like that. So you understand. And then Yaxel Lindenborg, who tomorrow will be announced as the Big Ten Player of the Year, expected to be announced. That would be a huge upset. His biggest competitor, I saw a Michigan State fan saying, if it wasn't for the politics, you mean the dirty kicking by Fears, which he did again. And if we're playing, maybe they would have won the game and he would have played great. None of that happened. I don't know, maybe he would have got some votes, but Michigan still won the Big Ten, and I would have still voted for Yax, even if he scored 2 points, not the 27 that he had. But it was all but over after that. Yax will be the Big Ten Player of the Year, and he's earned it. I mean, he is he doesn't force anything. In how many times this doesn't happen very often, but you see a player and you say you want him to shoot more, you want him to take over more, and that's Yax. Even yesterday when he was scoring 27, more, and he's letting the game come to him, and he took it over. There were a few plays. There was one rebound that he snatched out almost from it looked like the rafters. Another time he was just going up for a layup and he threw it down on the other side. They're NBA moves. Sometimes you see when you're watching, you say, oh, that's an NBA move. And he had a couple of those yesterday, and you can see why there'll be some NBA teams that will be moving up him on their draft boards where, you could see him easily in the lottery, the way that he took over that game and the way that he just played overall. Pretty good by Yax. And then, every game, and then you take 2 games and you say whatever kind of a segment of games you're going to do, this guy's trending this way, that guy's trending that way. If you do it every game, which we all tend to do a little bit, they need more, I can't do that, you can't do this. But with Kaysen out, you really needed, what did we all say? Yax was going to be, he's really the second point guard. As good as LJ Kaysen is, and he's tremendous. He's not really a point guard. He's a scoring guard. Point guard, you're thinking of a distributor, and that's not really his forte. His forte is driving to the hoop, scoring, and shooting threes. Scoring guard. But, so Yax being a facilitator, we saw that from him. And then Trey McKinney in the second half, fabulous. And he seems like he's I've said it, you've said it probably 100 times this year that McKinney seems like he gets better each and every time. It's almost been like that as the line just goes up. There's been a few where, oh, maybe not, but he was really good in the second half. Damari Burnett, who, some people are even suggesting a change in the lineup because he had been cold. He looked good. He played well, had a good first half. And then Roddy Gale, who really hasn't played well in all of 2026, when you have to say things like, oh, you got to really look at the box score, and oh, he's drawing fouls. I mean, those are the kind of things that we were saying. Some of it's true, but really, he hadn't played well. The last 2 games, he's made super big time plays. Yesterday, he was awesome. In the last 25 seconds, he was really good against Iowa, making the block and the deflection off the other guy's knee. So you really like to see that from Gale. And then Michigan shot free throws to the tune of 90+%, made them all almost. And they come away with the victory, and then they have the celebration afterwards, which was special. And you raise banners up. You go to the games and you look up there, and sometimes, people that have been around a long time, they're like, oh, I was there for that one. Oh, the Big Ten, and, now they've got one, another one that goes up there, and they clinched the outright title at Illinois. And I thought they were going to have the celebration there, cut down the nets, but no, Dusty decided, hey, let's do it against State on the last game of the year. It's a ballsy, again, that's a interesting word to use because I'm going to be talking about that coming up. But that was a ballsy move by Dusty, because he would have looked at Michigan, even though they would have won the Big Ten, people say, oh, it doesn't matter. It mattered. And I don't know about egg on their face, but, having a bunch of, they weren't going to kick Michigan State fans out, and Michigan, I don't know how exciting the ceremony would have been with, the banner going up after a loss. I mean, just wouldn't have been the same. But it didn't matter because Michigan, they did actually win the game. So it went, and, it was great. Now, before I talk about the Fears and Izzo, I wanted to see, what the people are saying about yesterday's game. Smash was watching it, and he says he saw, I put some TikToks up after the game. No doubt about that. Do I think Mara should be on the bench to begin games? Maybe put him in at the 16-minute mark in the first half. Both Duke and MSU knew to get him in foul trouble, and it changed the game in both cases. I would not do that. I like having Mara out there at the beginning of the game. I like having the front line of Morris Johnson Jr., Mara, and Yax for the other team to contend with. When I hear what you're saying with Duke and Michigan State, but the one thing I want to put, those guys have been out there all year long, and I want to not feel like I'm tiptoeing out there. Oh, I'm going to tiptoe out there because we're going to save Mara. What Mara needs to do is what got him into trouble against Duke is that first foul that he got, he didn't box out. And it was a similar type thing where he got a cheap one. You can get cheap ones like he had against Boozer, but some of these other ones, they were on him. He needs to tighten his game up. And I know that's not really to your point. You're just playing it out that way. What I think I would not do, though, is put him out there with 2 fouls because he can't be trusted overall. And so that could be your point as well. But when he picked up that cheap one where it was I think it was Fears, where he got he was out in front of everyone and Mara reached in, so they gave him 2 free throws in the ball. That wasn't a heady play, but now Mara is such a difference maker. I want him to be the difference maker at the start of the game, and then I'll adjust accordingly when it comes down to that. Now, if all season long they would have had him on the bench and then they brought him in, maybe I would have gone that way. But now's not the time to do any tinkering. It was like somebody wanted to take Namari Burnett and pull him out. You think about the confidence of a player. What do you think Mara's going to think about that? Oh, I'm not going to come in till 4 minutes because they're afraid that I'm going to get a foul. Now I got to be, you got to play. You can't be worried about, you got to be smart, but you got to go with your training and your focus and everything that you've gone with. And when you start getting cute, that's a cute move. And now's not the time to get cute. Go with, what's the saying? Dance with the girl that you brought. I think that's what it is. Do it. Let's do it. Not Ripstar. Good to see him. Not Ripstar talking about some mock drafts where both Mara and the electrifying Mojo are projected as late first round picks. Yeah, I have seen that. It's been going on for about a month now. And what I would like, how would I like it to play out? I'd like Michigan to win the national championship. I'd like both of those guys to play great. And then I would like them to be in the first round, but then I'd like them to come back. I'd like Michigan to empty their pockets and bring them back. If not both, at least one. But those are tough decisions. Yeah, they're getting paid money, but yeah, it's just like DeBonsa, who's going to go number 1 overall. Maybe he'll be number 2, whatever. We'll see. I mean, he's great, but it was his mother saying, yeah, she wants him to complete his degree. And, we've heard these stories before, and now you have NIL, but the amount of money that you get in the first round, even as a late first rounder, the guaranteed money doesn't compare to the amount of money that you can get. Even with NIL. So you probably go. But the thing is, you do have NIL, and they just saw what Yaks was in a similar boat last year where it was like, well, maybe he's projected as a late first rounder. Even if you go early in the second round, you get this guaranteed money. So, and Yaks got his close to $2 million. And Dusty said he outperformed his contract. He said that today with Yaks. I would agree with him on that. If they gave him $2 million, he was worth every penny. But maybe these guys are looking at Yaks and saying, I want to be Yaks next year. I want $2 million. I want $2 million, and I want to come back. Would I get, hopefully someone, Jolyn Ellison says, hey, here's $4 million. Here's $4 million. Here's 2 for a day. Here's 2 for Mojo. And you guys could make, 4 times that, moving up into the lottery like Yaks. And if not, it's not a bad thing to fall back on. Another year at school, $2 million. It's pretty nice. So yeah, let's do it. There's JD in the house. Good to see him. He enjoyed the sweeping of MSU. And you know what, John? Even before the season started, now it's because Dusty had a few things right before the season started. He knew he had a really good team. And he was not shying away from expectations. This was before the season started. And, he talked about the love for his team and how good they were. And what I put down was a list of some things that I wanted to see. I wanted to see them at one point rise to being the number 1 team in the country. They did that. I wanted to see them win the Big Ten. They have done that. I wanted to see them get to the Final Four. We'll see. But beating Purdue on the road, sweeping MSU, check. So far, so good. They've got check marks everywhere. That they've won every game on the road was incredible. That they set a record for 19 wins, first time that's ever been done in the Big Ten. These are all great things to collect. And yeah, beating Michigan State twice for the first time since 2014. Now, I know they beat them twice, twice in the regular season, I guess this is the proper way to say it, because one year they split with them and then they beat them in the Big Ten tournament. So they actually did beat them twice. Ooh, they could beat them 3 times. 3 times, 4 times. What I want to see, there's a question for you guys. I mean, you let it fall wherever you probably just there's a lot of people. I saw someone on the Maize and Blue review today say that they almost enjoyed Michigan State losing as much as Michigan winning, and I get that. So thinking about beating them 3 or 4 times means that you would want Michigan State to get to Sunday in the Big Ten tournament final. It'd be Michigan State for the Big Ten tournament title. That'd be a little nerve-wracking because then sweeping them twice, and then if State would somehow get that one, you'd be like, oh no. But if they got them 3 times, that would be the first time. And it almost happened last year where they could meet if Michigan would have won over Auburn. Both Michigan lost to Auburn, then the next round Michigan State lost to Auburn. If Michigan would have won, they would have met up in the tournament. But I'd like to see Michigan beat Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament final. And then what I'd like to see them beat them for a 4th time in the NCAA tournament. It would be nice. I don't care as much. I don't care much about Michigan State. It would be enjoyable to watch Michigan State lose in the first round. And that's the way. And that's the way that you feel like you're a Michigan fan. There's no, let's hope Tom Izzo and Michigan State do well. No, not the way that they've handled themselves. Not the way that Izzo is running his program. Not the way that he's allowing his players to play. Let those guys lose their next 2 games. Their first game after the double bye in Chicago, out. Whoever they play, it would be great to see him lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So that's it. There's none of that. And Izzo, they believe that. What I don't understand is, I don't know everyone out there, but John runs a nice Michigan pod. And I believe his teammate on that show is TJ, and yet not Ripstars, always ripping John, and yet he's begging for TJ to buy him food after the game. So I don't understand it, but I just, I don't know. Maybe you can give me that explanation. Gail has stepped up. You're right. I'm right there with you. Under Par is talking about Mara needs work. If I just stop and looked at the rest of that, I would say, what would I want to see from Mara? I would want to see Mara not just take needless fouls. I don't mind if he's going up trying to block someone. I don't mind if he's fighting underneath and maybe, gets a charge there. That's okay. But other than that, I'm perfectly fine with Mara. So let's see what Under Par has to say that he needs work. He played 9 minutes a game last year, and in a few big games this year, he got into foul trouble. Yeah, I'm not going to be worried about that. I mean, you're tensing up, and if you want to do a game by game. Look, basketball is not football, and that if you have a game in football, you're all over somebody. In basketball, you're playing so many more games, and I know big games, you're talking about foul trouble. But if we go back a week, everybody was wanting a Gale blows. You didn't want him. Let's make a change with the. Burnett in the starting lineup, and now it's Mara that people are on. I know this is the fans. This is how you think. It's how we think. But Mara is awesome. When he's right, and he's been right awful lot more than he has been off this year. He's been on more than he's been off. He's a dominant player in college basketball. And so, sitting around talking about that he needs work, we all need work. Every single one of those guys need work. So I don't know. You're just pointing it out. That's fine. And Under Par, I like your dusty MJJ stare avatar. It's sweet. Joe talking about, here's what I'm in for. It was hilarious, Izzo defending Fears. We have to keep Mara on the court more in the tournaments. Please watch the early fouls. That was great, him cutting the net without the ladder. Yes, that was a funny moment. I'm with you on that part. Yeah, if you mean hilarious in that Tom Izzo should be ashamed of himself and all Spartan fans should as well, I'm with you. These Fears and Izzo are an embarrassment to college basketball right now. And it's tough because Tom, Michigan's a rival and all of that. And, Izzo's a Hall of Famer, but I don't know, maybe it's because he's 71 years old. And I saw it with Joe Paterno. It started going and he started acting ridiculous. And I think it was because of his age, mostly, I don't know. And maybe that's what it is with Tom Izzo, but Izzo should be ashamed of himself. Fears should be suspended. Tony BTT, if he had any balls, would suspend him. Now, when the Harbaugh was suspended a few years ago, it was Michigan State, their athletic director, that came out and said that he was wondering if they should even put their team out on the field because they thought there was a danger. There was a danger to them showing their hand or something, Michigan State, when heading into that one. I know they're grandstanding and some of it you can understand there, but Fears, if you know anything about basketball, that guys foul and there can be flagrant fouls. And look, by the way, Mara is close to, he plays right up into and even, into the gray areas where you could call him. There's been some close to what you'd say dirty fouls. He's close to that threshold. It's like when Fears the first time around came in and Yaks from behind swept at him. He went at the ball, but it was a dirty play, and he rightfully got called for the flagrant, borderline dirty play, and you get that. And Mara's had some of those where he's come down with his elbow right on somebody. You got to watch your elbows, and you foul somebody from behind. You're teetering on being cheap, but when you are dirty, sorry. But when you get to a spot where, you're kicking somebody in between the legs, and Tom Izzo knows this. I mean, if you listen to him and part of it's like, this is all stuff that happened before. Like, yeah, Tom, we know that happened before. That's why, he has a reputation. We get that. And Tom's saying he didn't do anything on purpose. Well, if he didn't do anything on purpose, so it's just randomly, you've got a guy, Grayson Allen and Draymond Green in the pros had I don't know, whatever kind of deal he has, with his wiring, Draymond liked to grab people between the legs. What can I say about that? He does. He did it repeatedly. And so if Fears one time the donkey kicked someone and didn't have anything else on his bingo card, you'd say, okay, dude just snapped and, had an issue there, but it's a repeated pattern. And Izzo doesn't know what to say. He's out there, he's talking over here. Oh yeah, this is all for something else, but I'm going to deal with that. Oh, but what about Michigan? What? He said he's sick of it being one-sided. Tom, I'm sick of you and I'm sick of Fears playing a dirty game. If it would have been the first game, if we would have gone out there and said, okay, Fears, he didn't mean to get his foot tangled up with Yaks. He didn't mean to trip him. They didn't come out and defend that. In fact, it was just like, well, what about Michigan? What about Michigan? They didn't defend that. And then the very next game, Dusty was Tom was acting like it was Dusty's fault. Him putting him out. He's trying to motivate these guys. And then he did the exact same thing. And even worse. He should have been suspended right there. And then Izzo said, well, I think I might have to bench him. Well, he didn't bench him. And then he did it again. And then he did it yesterday. So what needs to happen is Fears should be suspended for the Big Ten tournament. If BTT had any heart or head or balls, he would suspend Fears for the Big Ten tournament. And if he doesn't want to do that, he should suspend Izzo. Because Izzo's, saying one thing, but he knows that, what can he say? What should Izzo say? Oh, yeah, Jeremy's a dirty MNFer. And I wish he wasn't a dirty MNFer, but he is. That's what he should say, and he knows that. But so instead, he's dancing around, talking about, Dusty, and what about the tape? And, he didn't mean to do it. What? Sit Izzo down or sit Fears down. You want to sit both of them down? All right. Those guys should not. Fears shouldn't be playing in the Big Ten tournament, and Izzo shouldn't be coaching in the Big Ten tournament. He had his opportunity to do something, and he hasn't. If you got a pit bull and he goes out there and bites someone, one time you say, oh, okay. But he goes out there the next time and he's, attacks someone, they put him down. Put Fears down. And since Izzo can't control him, he should be suspended. Because you can't count on these coaches. On one hand, you get it because it's his livelihood. Izzo doesn't want to be put out to pasture. He's over there talking about, I'm not anybody's grandpa, or I'm no little kid, or whatever. I'm not little brother. What? I'm not going to talk about Fears. And then for the next 5 minutes, he's over there backpedaling and making up all kinds of stories about his point guard. Enough! Suspend him. That's what should happen. And I know Michigan State fans can't admit it because, it's rivalry stuff, and they'll start saying, but first thing out of Michigan State fans' mouths would be, what about Michigan? What about Michigan? We're talking about Fears, kicking guys in the balls repeatedly. What should happen if they don't get suspended, someone should take an elbow and smash it in the Fears' face. And I wouldn't want that to happen to Tom Izzo, but should somebody slap him too? Probably. But, he's slapping some 71-year-old coach, even if you would like to. But Fears, if they don't suspend him, you don't advocate it, but you understand if somebody took a run at him. When you act like Grayson Allen, who's the dirtiest player of all time in college basketball, Jeremy Fears is in that category. There's no, this is a rivalry thing. No. And if you can't admit that, then, you're just a typical blind sports fan that will say anything about your team. And especially the guys in the media, if they're doing it, you have to expect fans to do it. Because, there's no ramification for fans. You're just a big wide-eyed fan. You only care about one thing, getting your Twitter fingers out, running them at Michigan, and, running around with your green and white pom-poms. I mean, I get that. But for the media to do it, you guys are an embarrassment if there's any of them out there doing the same thing. Oh. I get Izzo giving the backhanded compliment about the Chrysler crowd. A pretty good crowd for up here. Okay. Pretty good crowd for up here. Fouling, playing hard, that's part of the game. When his defense was, he got pushed. Yeah, you foul someone, you're playing them up. That's why it's part of the game. And no part of the game is like, I'm going to kick somebody, donkey kick him in the balls. That's what you're saying. That's what Izzo sounds stupid. He sounds like he should retire when he's up there talking, and anybody defending him sounds the same way. Oh no, he didn't donkey kick somebody on purpose multiple times. It just happens. His leg just comes up between somebody. It's like Draymond Green when he gets around LeBron. He's got to grab him between the legs. I don't know. Since it didn't happen, I don't think Draymond was grabbing people on the shorts and between the legs when he was at State. I mean, if he did, I'd say maybe Tom Izzo had something to do with that. But no, it was after that. Fears, and it's too bad because Fears, he's a hell of a player. It's him hitting the brakes and being a foul merchant. That's actually, something that should be commended. That's a good part of basketball. Drawing fouls on the other team and figuring out a little bit of theatrics. I mean, that's all right. But no, grabbing somebody, kicking somebody between the legs, that's not all right. There's the line. They'll say, well, it's not. Fouling somebody hard, you swipe at the ball from behind, you say, it's kind of, there's the line. Mara coming down with his elbow in somebody's face. That's getting closer. There's no reverse kicking somebody in the nuts. There's nobody. I'm surprised it's not a bigger deal. Michigan has a triple bye. Ohio State has the could be Iowa, could be Ohio State, could be somebody else that comes through from from way back. There usually is one team, but so probably Ohio State, maybe Iowa, and I guess I didn't look at to see who the first teams are playing there. As far as the schedule, here it is. Michigan plays at noon on Friday, the quarterfinal against again Ohio State, highest seed, Iowa, next highest seed, and then whoever else could come through if they beat Iowa, if they beat Ohio State. That game will be on the Big Ten Network, and then over the weekend you got a 1:00 game on Saturday for the semis. That's on CBS, and then the final is 3:30 on Sunday. And so for some of those of you that were like, I just hope Michigan loses on Friday because they'll be well rested. That's not what Dusty. And I know sometimes coaches say things and you can say, oh, that's just coach talk. But Dusty pointed out that Florida, he pointed out that most teams that win it all advance in their conference tournament, if not win it. I pointed to Florida last year. He said he had his staff looking through. So, one and done. If Michigan just loses Friday and you're like, good, I don't think that's good. Well, you get to the championship game, you lose, but go out and win it. Plus, they're trying to put together the greatest season ever for Michigan basketball. So I know there's just been a few people that always, and I get a rest. You just focused on the NCAA tournament. That's it. That's it. Okay, let's see. Now, Ripstar wouldn't mind seeing another win over Ohio State. I can understand that. Let's see. This is when we start talking about, guys getting guaranteed deals. You get a guaranteed deal. There's a lot of guys that get promised their agents, hey, we're going to take you in the first round. That's a promise. That's a guarantee. And then sometimes you get a team early in the second round that talks about getting you a guarantee, but you writing it like because he couldn't get a guaranteed deal, not the actual value. I disagree with how you wrote that, but there could be some truth to what you're saying there. Smash is back. He is talking about Puerto Rico. Amazing place full of natural culture and food. Tough to end vacation, but Dennis is making it easier. Puerto Rico. It looks like an amazing place. It really does. I have watched a little bit. When I say a little bit, I don't know. Looked up at the TV, gone through it, seen some highlights of the World Baseball Classic. And it's not necessarily Puerto Rico. It's the Dominican Republic, which is their neighbors. But they got a great lineup. And, man, when they hit home runs, they go nuts about that. That's for sure. El Jefe. I read a book about El Jefe in Puerto Rico. I don't know what we're talking about. Michigan Go Blue. Oh, I'm breathing heavy. Michigan Go Blue does not want to see MSU again. Izzo would be hard to beat 3 times. Sure he would. Cut from a different cloth is talking. Do you know any top 5 draft picks or any top agents? I don't know what we're arguing about here. Not Ripstar talking Dusty. Do we need to give Dusty another contract extension? I am going to, and he's got some numbers out there. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say what Dusty has done deserves more money. Obviously, if he wins it all, I mean, he can just, he should be getting paid more than Tom Izzo. You can make a case he should be getting more than Tom Izzo already. Obviously, he should be getting paid more than Mick Cronin. I don't know if he, Self or Hurley territory. Let's cut the difference. Let's just as a cool 7. 6 or 7 for Dusty. That's going to happen. I can see that. I don't know if you guys are on the same show. I think this is a cheap shot, Ripstar, to in a number of ways. John is every 2 minutes putting up another video or putting up a different screen. Those don't just magically come up. This takes work behind as you produce the show. This takes a lot of work to put together and put those videos up. And when you're saying, people are, maybe you, Rip, just sit around and work for free. These guys aren't, they're trying to make a buck. And I promise you, John's not, making $1 million. He's not sitting over there. So, getting a little income any way you can. I would say stop ripping on him. And I would say that you're out of turn. Now, I don't know everything about the show, but I've watched a little bit. I know they put a lot of videos and it takes a lot of work to do. So I think you're out of line. But that's just me. Ferris wants to know who's looking for Final Four tickets. Is now the time to shop for them? Is Dennis going to give me a ride there? Well, if you're in and around Ann Arbor, I'm going to try. I think I would like to go. That's for sure. So I don't know. I would say the time was before the season. It just, the price is just going, it's not getting any cheaper. So that's it. Mara gets into foul trouble because teams focus on getting him into foul trouble. They'll figure it out and they'll be fine. Well, I think that what are you going to do when you go in Michigan? You're going to try to, what do you do with shot blockers? We all know the cliche. You take it to them. Take it to a shot blocker. Yeah. You're driving the lane, but Mara's picked up some cheap ones with rebounding, and this part about they'll be fine. I don't know, but I'm not benching them. The Final Four is not only for the billionaires. That's why they put it in a place like Lucas Oil. I mean, where the place holds 65,000. Now, it feels like you got to be a millionaire to go. I'll give you that. And honestly, I don't really know. I've been to one Final Four. It was one that was in Detroit at Ford Field. And I was there with a media pass. And it was great. I mean, I sat 10 feet from the court. I was at the game where Steph Curry and Davidson almost beat the number 1 seed, Kansas. It was awesome. It was great. Izzo's already in the Hall of Fame. We know that. Yeah, well, you can like Draymond, but he's got a problem. Fears is the dirtiest player in basketball. Not natural basketball movements. I agree with that. All right. Yes, suspend Fears, suspend Izzo. It would be nice if Michigan would Sabanize Izzo. That would be cool. Let's see. We got Raj, who says Izzo condones it. Can't suspend Fears as he has 70% of their offense. Nobody's damn little brother. It sounds like he is basically condoning it. I know but that's kind of like this. What's up? Did the refs do a makeup call, giving them a ticky-tack technical after the Fears absurdity? No, I think that all of the text that Michigan, did they get the one on McKinney? I think the rule is you used to get a warning, like if you grab the ball or whatever, but I remember when Michigan was playing Ohio State got called for it twice. He grabbing the ball, and McKinney definitely did it. So I don't know if because there are already some texts that maybe that plays into it, or if you're getting into a delay of game situation, you automatically get a Class B. I'm not 100% sure on that, but again, Ohio State did it, and Michigan benefited. So uh, you know what's going to happen. Sometimes you just can't, but you got to be better than that. And so McKinney deserved that one. And when you have a breakaway and the guys in front like Mara and reached out, he deserved that one too. So I don't think those were makeup calls when it comes down to it. Da, da. Yeah, I don't know about soccer. I don't know anything about soccer, so if you want to bring soccer into kicking between the legs, I understand. The MSU play call was for a kick out. Okay, there you go. Mar, he's ready for the Western game. He's ready for the opener. Ready for the opener. All right, let's see what else we got here. Classic Izzo. There's Mar. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, worried about Dusty jumping to the NBA. Dusty was talking about the NBA, not jumping to the NBA today, but I'd gone to the game last night, and then afterwards there was, the big celebration on the floor, and then afterwards there was a press conference, and then they had another one this morning, and Dusty's like, "Hey, I just thought I saw there's still confetti on the floor," and Dusty's like, "Man, this is like the pros." Yeah, the pros, an NBA coach will talk before the game, he talks after the game. What's really you cover baseball, you feel like you're hanging out with the manager. Just to go down Jim Leland's office 4 hours before the game, he'd be sitting in there drinking a coffee, smoking a cigarette, talking about his lineup, 10, 15 minutes, talking about it. You'd have the game afterwards, and you talk about what happened. You go in for the next day, and he's doing the same thing. Well, rinse and repeat. It's like, it's all you do is talk to Jim Leland. That's all he's doing is talking. A lot of talking. Let's continue before we go to the Big Ten tournament. Hefe. Was I not saying it right? El Jefe. R.I.P. Lou Holtz. 420 cheers. I was going to say a little bit early for that, but I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Maybe not. Come on, Ward, get him a contract now. Don't do what you did with Harbaugh again. Excellent costs. Yeah, well, Raj, that was on Harbaugh, more than it was on Ward. It depends who you trust, but that was more Jim Harbaugh than it was Ward Manuel. I know there was not only a no, it was a narrative. Jim Harbaugh could do no wrong when he was here. Hey, look, you win. That's what everybody's like. Oh, Ward. Ward's that way. I almost went up and talked to Ward on the floor last night. Said, hey, Ward, how you feeling about that investigation? I wasn't going to say. I'm not going to talk about the investigation. So I just left him alone. He was up there cutting the nets now. I just left him alone. Rojimus Prime. You read my comment. I was at the 28 Final Four and met Ray Jackson and his kids. Villanova destroyed us, but we beat Sister Jean. Yeah, the 28 Final Four. I mean, Villanova had a great team. Let's be honest. You go through that lineup and what they had, not just DiVincenzo. Point guard wasn't too shabby. Either was their wing. I mean, a hell of a head coach. I mean, yeah. Hopefully, they have a repeat of getting to the Final Four and championship game, but this time they win it. Well, thank you. Cut from a different cloth. He's saying I'm objective, rational, and reasonable. I appreciate that. So with that, let's get to what else we're talking about. And what else are we talking about is, here we go. the Big Ten tournament. Now, I should have just put the bracket up, but Michigan gets the double bye. And so they are awaiting the winner of Ohio State and or Iowa. I was going to look. I could probably just look through it, right? To go through it. Let's see. Tuesday, do we have? Look at all these college basketball games. Maryland, Oregon. How come I can't? It's going to take me a minute because now I'm going to have to look up bracket. Bracket. Big Ten tournament bracket. That was easy. John Rothstein has the first one over here. All right. So Michigan with the double bye. They could play. Here's how it works. Oregon and Maryland will play tomorrow in the 16-17 matchup. And then the winner of Oregon, Maryland will take on Iowa on Wednesday. And the winner of the Iowa, Oregon, Maryland winner will then take on Ohio State. So if we're just going by seeding, it'll be Oregon, Iowa. And then we'll have the 8-9 matchup. These are all toss-ups. Iowa and Ohio State. And then so it'll be Michigan or Ohio State. It'll be either Michigan will either play Ohio State, Iowa, Oregon, or Maryland. One of those four. Likely Ohio State or Iowa, I would say, as we sit here, but there's always upsets. That's what happens. Although this year we're hoping there's no upsets. And then Michigan, if they would beat Ohio State or Iowa on their side of the bracket, the 4 seed is in Illinois. We have to see Illinois again. In Chicago, there's going to be a lot of Illinois fans at the United Center, maybe. But you also have Wisconsin there. I mean, come on, you got to go through all these different things. And then of course, the 2 seed is Nebraska and Michigan State on that bottom half of the bracket. If that thing held up for the championship, I'll just play it through. I've got Michigan beating whoever there. I've got Michigan getting to Sunday, and let's have them take on Nebraska. I mean, that's the 1-2. I mean, that's the seed to hold up. Your seeding usually doesn't hold up. That's a chalk. Going with an easy chalk bracket. It's always the easiest thing to do. Just go chalk. We got some prices. $300. What's GITD? Get in the door price? Get in the door price at about $300. Worth it. If I can bring in an iPad with a mega zoom lens. Yeah, well, it depends. Some people just like to go. I mean, Indianapolis is a great little place to party. Basketball fans, Final Four. I've been there for some conference tournaments. It's got a little nice downtown. It's a nice downtown. And then what I remember about the Final Four that was at Ford Field, a lot of my friends, they're there and you need binoculars. I mean, you're out there. And I remember the radio station I was working for, they had a suite. And you look out there and it's like watching in a little matchbook. You see, and they would have mics on the rims and you could barely see that one hit the rim. Then you kind of hear dink. And so you're just there. I mean, we can barely make out what's happening. But you're in a suite, you didn't care. Plus, I mean, a lot of it's just a party you're going. So even if there's 60,000, 30,000 people can't really see. It was like way back in the day when I went to the NBA. My first NBA finals is when the Pistons played the Lakers, 87. Well, we went to it makes you sound old. We said, we went for $5. I think it was $5, but we were in the upper deck of the Silverdome and they're down there watching the Pistons play. And you're like, looking, the court looks like it's about this big and you can't tell what's happening. You're still screaming at the ref, hey, that was a foul. These refs suck, but that's the fun of it. You're there. Some people just like being there. That's right. 88, I'll buy it. 88, I will buy it. Let's see if this is true or not. GDSPE says it's how you play during the run, but favor Michigan basketball over hockey at this point. Well, hockey, you need a. First thing I say is, what kind of goaltender do you have? Michigan's got a pretty good goaltender. Michigan's got a good goaltender who can get hot. So I like that part. And they say, well, can they score? What kind of defense do they play? They've got all three of the elements that you're looking for. I'm talking about Michigan hockey really quick. So you're saying you'd favor, but, in the number 2 team in the country, heading into this Big Ten tournament where they play on Wednesday. Can't wait for that, right? I think it's Wednesday. So, Michigan's going to be a 1 seed. Michigan is going to be a 1 seed in hockey. Both of them. So you're going to favor basketball over hockey. I would favor hockey, just that they're already in the Sweet 16 because there are only 16 teams in there. And yeah, every team except Virginia has made it past the first round of the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of teams that have lost in the second round to that 8-9 game. The Michigan hockey team's already there. So, and they've got a good goaltender. So I actually would favor Michigan hockey. But, that's a tough, those are small things, but that's what we're doing. We're talking about small things, little things. Smash says the 89 championship team played in the Silverdome. Then they moved to the Palace for 1990. LA beat Detroit in 88. Detroit swept LA in 89. That sounds right to me, honestly. Although the Pistons should have won in 88 if that was a bad call. Now Lambeer, I looked a couple years ago back because you always say, Lambeer, phantom foul in Game 7 with a couple seconds to go in Game 6, I think it was, or was it Game 7, right in the decider? I think it was Game 7. And it was Game 7. You go back and watch, it is when you say ticky-tack, Lambeer goes like this. Now, he's not perfectly straight up, but he is leaning in just ever so slightly. And then Kareem's out here. He's got his arm bar. Anyways, it was pretty close to it is a phantom foul. Some hockey take from Andres. Well, Andres, we know you're a Southern Ohio guy, so we understand that you don't get into hockey. I guess there is Columbus Blue Jackets now. I can't get into hockey unless there is money on the line. Well, there's nothing like, where you get the basketball and hockey, the one and done, these tournaments. To me, that's great. To me, it comes down, it's like, do you like chicken? Do you like burgers? Do you like brunettes? Do you like blondes? I guess you like legs? Do you like breath? What do you, I don't know. It's tough. You make a call. I'm a leg guy. Was Game 7 when Isaiah played with an ankle sprain? I don't think so. I think that was early in the series, but if he played with the ankle sprain, wouldn't it have affected him all series? So maybe it was. He had 25 points in the first quarter. There you go, Andres. Not in college, they don't fight. Can't fight in college. It's great. College hockey is great. College hockey is, but I don't like when somebody has to tell you how great something is and not everybody's there. So, if you love it, if you don't, it can be hard though. If you like the Red Wings, you like the NHL playoffs, you like the Pistons, you like the NBA play, you like baseball. It's hard to like. That's one thing I'm a little bit, I don't know if it's surprised. Over on the Maize and Blue Review, we have a posting board. It's called The Den. There are a few, I'll say a handful, maybe a dozen of folks who seemingly the only thing they do is watch, read, and listen to sports because I love football. I watch every game, football, college and pro, and I do. And they're in the fall, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, Monday night football. Crank it back up on Thursday. I'm off and I'm going again. A lot of football. All three windows on Saturday, all three windows on Sunday. I love baseball. I love the NBA playoffs, I like the NHL. So look, I like football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. I like those four. I like the golf majors, like a little bit of tennis. So now we're already on the sixth. But these guys, they're into, hey, LA Marathon. Now we're talking college hockey. Now we're talking college baseball. Now we're into NASCAR. Oh, hey, I'm into F1. I mean, these guys seem like they're into, like, you can't be into all of it. How can you be into all of it? Michigan had a squabble with Penn State at the end a few weeks ago. Yeah, but there's not really fights. I mean, there's some pushing and shoving, but that's it. I guess we'll just argue. Thanks for the thoughts there, though. Rojamus Prime. Hope I'm saying that right. Couple more here. After the Bears leave Chicago, Detroit and Philly will be the only cities to have all Big Four sports teams named after the city and playing in the city. Just two left. Yeah, I don't think the Bears. I see Michael. I watch PTI once in a while, and Wilbon is pretty emphatic that that's not happening. So I'll take it from him. Browns need help. Deshaun Watson is coming back. There we go. That's where we're at. Okay, then we get to the NCAA tournament. Dusty today had mentioned a couple of different things. He said he mentions the seeding to his players. So Michigan, you would think that they have a number one seed already locked up, but do they need to win their first round game to have a total lock at a one seed? I don't know. Dusty said he either already requested or will request that if Michigan is playing in the late Sunday championship game of the Big Ten, they would prefer to play on Friday, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're playing the late game, you're not getting out of the building in Chicago by 9:00 or whatever else, and then you got to play on Thursday. And you want these teams to give their all and play in their conference tournaments. Don't, like Michigan last year, had to play on Thursday. Don't, whoever the Big Ten tournament champ is, should not be playing on Thursday in the NCAA tournament. I mean, as they put some things down, I mean, it seems obvious. They always say the selection committee. I think the selection committee, that's one of the things that they should be adhering to. Now, look, it could be a lot different. I know they're talking about travel a lot because of the war that we're in. Could affect, so there might affect this, how teams are going to be looked at and where they're going to be sent and all those things. I was going to say, let's not get political, but I mean, that's just a fact when it comes down to it for the NCAA. Is there anything else with Dusty today? Oh, LJ Kaysen, he was on the ladder last night, and I noticed he didn't have a wrap. I guess during the broadcast that they said that he was going to redshirt, and then LJ or Dusty today said LJ does not have a surgery planned yet, and LJ is going to be with the team in Chicago, and then also along with the team during the NCAA tournament run. So he has decided to redshirt already for next year, and that's understandable. You start. I do this with the Achilles. I saw the Tatum's coming back from less than 10 months, and then Michigan's defensive end that they got from Utah. He got hurt in late November. So then you start thinking, man, he could be. I'm thinking that that defensive end, even though they said he should be, I would expect him at the earliest to be ready for a Big Ten play. But so not that Oklahoma game. Well, that's a pretty big deal. But that's just me going through some of the numbers as I was looking at it. We'll find out what they have to say. What else are they going to say during if it's early in the process? They're just hoping for the best. Maybe he could come back for the opener. I don't know. Achilles, knees, projections. We'll see. What else did Dusty have to say? It was interesting. McKinney liked him. Yak's going to be the Big Ten Player of the Year. Talked about seeding. And did not like that the team was not getting back on defense after they'd score a hoop. The one time Yaks was playing to the crowd, didn't like that. Post defense, ball screen offense. That's what they're working on. And yeah, he was the man. Right. The selection committee should not ignore the Big Ten championship game. They sit in the rooms and I think they're already, they have it all made up. And so they're already drunk or whatever, drunk on their themselves. And then they don't give much respect to the tournament champion. They want us to give our eyeballs there, but then they don't give us the respect for them. So that's it when it comes down to it. All right. So the good news is we will, this is a great time. Basketball, hockey. I love this week. I love the conference tournaments. Conference tournaments, man, it's a nice warm up because you're there. It's a real nice meal. If we're talking meals, I mean, and then you get done with that. And then, they have those playing games that they try to force us to, but then the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are the 4 best days consecutively in the sports calendar. Labor Day football is pretty close, but I stay with the basketball. Now you add in that Michigan's going to be a 1 seed and one of the tournament favorites. It puts this year over the top. It is going to be awesome. So thanks so much. This is a good time to tell you that. What am I going to tell you? What am I going to tell you? Who knows? Well, I'm going to tell you to join up with the Maize and Blue Review. You should join up with the Maize and Blue Review. You're a Michigan fan. You like constant Michigan news. You like talking with Michigan fans. You like getting the latest Michigan news. You like recruiting. You like football. You like basketball. You like hockey. That's it. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. The biggest one is that you're a big Michigan fan and you want to continue and up your fandom. Get on in. Go to on3.com and join up, and I'll see you over there. I look forward to it. If not, we will see you Wednesday right back here on this very feed you're watching or listening to right now. Till then, have a great day. Oh, there's some confetti from last night. Oh. Clean up. Aisle 2.